Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. This is the podcast, The Endurance of Labor Laws. I am your lovely host, Lesley Sullivan. And today is episode 135, and we're going to take a look at the Superfund sites located in the state of Missouri. We took a little bit of a break from taking a look at these because when you're dealing with Superfund sites, it can get kind of serious really quick, so I kind of wanted to help everyone take a breather. And so that's why on this show we rotate between labor unions, trade unions, federal agencies, eventually state agencies, and then we discuss environmental protection agency issues, and then also we discuss Superfund sites. Now, if you are new to this podcast and you don't know what a Superfund site is, a Superfund site is a toxic, hazardous waste site within the United States. The United States has a little over 40,000 Superfund sites littered across the United States, but not like confetti because these are not good for you. Excuse me, I have the hiccups a little bit. The list that I am reading from is called the National Priorities List. The National Priorities List has maybe about 1,300, maybe a little less, of Superfund sites listed on there. The National Priorities List is just a fraction of the overall amount of Superfund sites located in the United States. The ones that are on the National Priorities List are the worst of the worst, meaning they are the most dangerous, they are the most toxic, and they are the most hazardous. They are affecting human lives, they are affecting the environment, and they are affecting wildlife and animal life, meaning they're probably, these Superfund sites are either contaminating it or killing it. So, needless to say, some of these Superfund sites go back way before the 1980s because a lot of these issues occurred back during a time frame when we were not always aware of how bad some chemicals were and the short-term and long-term effect of the things that were happening within manufacturing and industry here in the United States. Now, here's the thing. Superfund sites are caused in two different ways primarily, just kind of the generalization. It's either caused by a company that spilled something, whether accidental or they didn't care to dispose of something properly, or it's caused by the federal government, usually by our military. When it comes to the military, or NASA, I forgot about them, it's usually experimental things going on. And here's the thing, sometimes they don't know how to properly dispose of something until after the fact. Because as I've said in times past, almost every industry had a beginning. And so whenever you're doing something new, sometimes it's kind of trial and error as to what's going to happen, what are the short-term and long-term effects. Unfortunately, with these Superfund sites, the majority of them are located up in the northeastern part of the United States. And I say that this is very unfortunate because a lot of the states located up in the northeastern part of the United States are very small land masses, but they are heavily populated. So you have more people at a higher rate being exposed to things that their bodies should never be exposed to, much less the environment, much less animal life and plant life and things of that nature, because we are a part of the environment. And my personal opinion is that, we need to take care of what God has given us, which includes our body and the environment. Like, we are supposed to be good stewards of everything that God has given us. Obviously, considering that we have a little over 40,000 Superfund sites located in the United States, we have not been very good stewards. Now, let me say this in this same token. Even though we do have quite a few Superfund sites, and some of them are quite bad, what we are experiencing here and the issues that we have here in the United States is nothing compared to the toxic, hazardous waste in India and China. So, just be aware of that because India and China are still the two top polluters on the planet. So, be aware of that. So, just know that one of the only reasons why this information is available about the United States is because, we call a spade and we take ownership of our problems. Unfortunately, India and China, they're not the best countries. They don't take ownership of their issues and they don't let their people know about what's going on. Like, they don't really practice freedom of speech in the same way that we do here in the United States. So sometimes the things we discuss on this show are not always the most positive reflection of the United States. However, we are pretty much the only country on the planet that takes ownership of our problems. Europe doesn't take ownership. Communists don't take ownership. I mean, these other countries, some of them I don't even know what kind of government they have. They claim to have elections, but they're usually rigged, especially in Africa. You know, they have very corrupt countries over there. So just FYI, be aware that we are not as bad as other countries. In fact, we are one of the better countries because we actually do everything we can to clean things up. In that same token as well, we need to do a better job of cleaning these things up. I don't think we have cleaned up enough and as quickly as we can. Unfortunately, one of the ways that people find out that there is a Superfund site and that something has happened is that the citizens get really strange illnesses. And so they go to their doctor and they say, hey, something's going on. So then because we're in the United States, doctors, because we don't have socialized medicine, thank goodness, they run tests, they do blood work, and they realize, hey, you're being exposed to a very heavy metal or some kind of contaminant. Is there anything in your house? Like, this is really weird because it's affecting your body, it's affecting your cells. And 9 times out of 10, the person's like, no, I don't have anything like that in my house. What's going on? That's when they call in the EPA or they call in another agency as well that says, hey, I think you need to look into possible exposure to toxic hazardous material that is showing up in this person's blood work. That is typically how this stuff is found out, is because the citizens speak up and say, hey, we've got this issue and we don't like this happening. It's destroying our community. A lot of that stuff, what I just described, happened in the 1960s and 50s. So just FYI, a lot of these Superfund sites go back a ways. So, needless to say, because the public, there was an outcry from the public and they spoke up about stuff, that's when the federal government intervened and said, hey, we've got some issues here. Some of these sites have been caused by companies, some have been caused by the federal government, some have been caused by NASA, some have been caused by research and development, and others have been caused by our military. Needless to say, there were all these different federal agencies that were investigating this different stuff, but they were not communicating with each other properly. That's when President Richard Nixon created the EPA. He put anything that has to deal with the environment under one umbrella, which is the Environmental Protection Agency. He was very smart in doing that because they centralized it. So that way, these federal agencies had no choice but to report this stuff to one branch of the government, so to speak, or one agency within the federal government, and they were able to address things more quickly. And so then when all this information basically hit the fan with the EPA, they made a list of everything that the public reported to all these different federal agencies. They compiled it. And so that's how we have the national priorities list. God bless all the people, our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. They reported this stuff because they cared. They cared about their families, they cared about their community, and they cared about the United States. So that's how we have this information. Mind you, this kind of information gathering does not happen like this over in India or China. So I guess we need to lift up India and China, that they start being more honest and legit with their citizens, and they stop being socialist or communist or whatever government India tries to say they have. Because India, they make it seem like they have a democracy or a parliament of some sort, but they still have the caste system. So it doesn't really make sense to me why they claim to be one thing, but they're really not. Because, if they're not being who they say they're going to be, then they're really not taking care of their citizens. And one way that we saw this recently was during COVID-19. COVID-19 hit India bad twice. And India is very much populated and overpopulated. And their villages got hit really bad because they don't always have a doctor in their villages. They typically use nurses or like medical assistants, which are not doctors. They're not very educated. And then when they were trying to administer the vaccine, it just kind of fell through the cracks. Like their healthcare system, it's basically a type of socialized medicine, but a really subpar form of it. So it's even worse than just regular socialized medicine. Their people were not getting the health care that they've been paying for via their taxes. So just FYI, be aware of that. So anyway, that's where we are getting this list, is from the national priorities list, and these are the worst of the worst. So just FYI. But before we dive into taking a look at these from the state of Missouri, I want to give a big shout out to my listeners. So a big shout out to Oklahoma, Virginia, Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, British Columbia, Illinois, Oregon, Ohio, Florida, Alabama, Massachusetts, California, District of Columbia, Indiana, Minnesota, Washington, Rhode Island, Colorado, North Carolina, Michigan, Iowa, New Brunswick, Louisiana, Connecticut, and Manitoba. In terms of countries, the United States, Canada, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Slovakia, South Africa, Japan, and Denmark. So quite a few listeners. Okay, so that is always good to see you guys. So let's take a look here at the lovely state of Missouri and take a look at their Superfund sites. As usual with this list, I'm going to list off the current and active Superfund sites first, meaning these are still toxic, these are still hazardous, they are still an issue, and they have not been cleaned up. The second group that I will read off are the ones that are being proposed to being added to the list of the national priorities list, meaning they already know that these sites are an issue, but for some reason they can't make up their mind whether or not to add them to the national priorities list. And my question in regards to that is, how bad does it have to get before they take it seriously? And when I say they, I mean the EPA. So it's one of those things, sometimes the EPA very much acts like a federal agency where they drag their feet, which we have seen this for a long time now, where they're not cleaning things up like they're supposed to. It has very much turned into a bureaucracy, and I think that's one of the issues, because the EPA can actually do a lot of good. It can do tremendous good, but it's overspending. It has I think a $9 billion budget, if not more by now. They have a huge budget, they overspend, but they do not get a lot done, and they actually do not have a lot of employees. So considering that they get billions of dollars a year, but yet they don't have very many workers and not much is getting done, that's where it tells me they are overspending, which is a big issue, because those are our tax dollars going down a rat hole. So just be aware of that. And those are federal tax dollars, not state tax dollars. And then lastly, the last list that we will look at will be the ones that have been deleted from the national priorities list for the state of Missouri, and that means that these have been cleaned up and good to go. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that are actually active, meaning they are toxic and hazardous and are an issue. So let me see here. The first one is Armour Road. It is located in the city of North Kansas City, and North Kansas City has a population of 4,467 people. The issue with this one was, let's see here, the site was used by a series of herbicide businesses, including for manufacturing purposes between 1948 and 1986. So again, sometimes these Superfund sites go back way before we even made a list. A 1989 inspection detected contamination from arsenic. I think that's pentachlorophenol, and then 4-D, and then 2, 4, and 5-T. It says cleanup activities on the site have been included, building demolition and removal of contaminated soil. The site has since been redeveloped and now is the location of new businesses. That's where this contamination still continues to happen. So this site is still on the national priorities list, but it has not been cleaned up. But yet they just redevelop it, and they are basically selling the land and letting people have businesses on there. So basically men, women, and children are still being exposed to this bad stuff. That's the problem. They're not sectioning it off like they're supposed to. So it's still happening. It's still going on. And this one, it was put on the national priorities list on May 10th, 1999. So they knew about these bad chemicals going back to the 1940s. And they knew that it was a Superfund site basically in 1989. And then it was added to the list in 1999, but it still has not been cleaned up. They're just allowing it to be used by everyday people to conduct business, and that's not right. The next one that is still current and active is BC Manufacturing Plant. It is located in the city of Malden. Malden has 4,277 people living in that area, and it probably has a little bit more because that's from 2010 census. Let's see, it says a manufacturing company that produced aluminum parts for doors and storm windows dumped wastewater directly into the soil. That's very stupid. The water was contaminated with chromium. Cleanup at the site has included soil removal and ended in 2010. However, this site still has not been completely cleaned up. So it is still current, it is still active. This one was added to the list June 10th, 1986. So it's very interesting that, they think because they removed the soil that everything's good to go. It's not. They still need to test it because it's still an active site. The next one is Big River Mine Tailings, St. Joe Minerals. This one is located in Desloge. I think that's how you pronounce it. And there, let's see, they have 5,054 people living in that area, but I imagine there are more people living in that area because that is from a 2010 census. The issue with this one is mine tailings containing lead, cadmium, and zinc were deposited through mining activities conducted by St. Joe Minerals. Some of the tailings have contaminated Big River, and the soil and airborne dust are also affected. Cleanup at the site, includes stabilizing, eroding, tailings piles, and capping tailings. Complaints were lodged in 2009 against the methods used by the Doe Run Company to remediate part of the site. This one was added to the list. That's going to be October 14th, 1992. The next one that is current and active is, that's Compass Plaza Well, TCE. This one is located in Rogersville. The population for Rogersville is 3,897 people. It says here they have groundwater contamination with trichloroethylene. Let's see, and it was detected by the Missouri Department of Natural Resources in 2010 near a commercial site known as Compass Plaza. Let's see, the source of the pollution is not known, which that's kind of odd. But this one was added to the list March 15th, 2012. The next one that is current and active is Conservation Chemical Company. It is located in Kansas City. Let's see here. Kansas City has 508,090 people living in that area. Let's see. The issue with this one is groundwater contamination from manufacturing chemicals. The site was initially handled by the Resource Conservation and Recovery Act, but was proposed to be added to the Superfund listing on June 24th, 1988, as Conservation Chemical Company was deemed by the EPA to be non-cooperative. Contamination of both groundwater and soils includes cyanide, phenolic compounds, volatile organic compounds, dioxins, and polychlorinated biphenyls. The Conservation Chemical Company had buried some waste at the site. Buildings and equipment present have been demolished, and a soil cap has been added. This one was added to the list October 4th, 1989. The next one that is current and active is Ellisville site. It is located in the city of Ellisville. Ellisville has a population of 9,985 people. The issue with this one is soil was contaminated by dioxins and VOCs from oil, chemical, and industrial waste disposal. Airborne dust and groundwater contamination were potential risk. This one was added to the list September 8th, 1983. The next one that is current and active is Fulbright Landfill, which being it's a landfill, you know it's going to be bad. This one is located in the city of Springfield. Let's see, Springfield, their population is 169,176 people living in that area. The issue with this one is groundwater and waste contained VOCs, other organic compounds, heavy metals, and cyanides. Adjacent river sediments were found to be contaminated with chromium, and groundwater flows into these rivers. The site is within the river's flood plains. That's not good. This one was added to the list September 8th, 1983. The next one that is current and active is Lake City Army Ammunition Plant. It is located in the city of Independence. Their population is 123,011 people. The issue at this one is groundwater, soil, and surface water are contaminated with VOCs, various explosives, percolates, and heavy metals including lead, arsenic, and chromium. This one was added to the list July 22nd, 1987. The next one that is current and active is Lee Chemical. It is located in the city of Liberty. Let's see, their population is 30,167 people. The issue at this one is groundwater, surface water, and soil are contaminated with TCE. This one was added to the list June 10th, 1986. The next one is Madison County Mines. It is located in the city of Fredericktown. The population there is 4,429 people. The issue at this one is lead and other heavy metal contamination of groundwater, soil, and surface water from former mining sites. This one was added to the list. That's going to be September 29th, 2003. The next one is Minker Stout Romaine Creek. It is located in the city of Imperial. The population there is 4,709 people, but that census is probably a little old. Let me see here. The 2020... No, hold on a second. No, that's going to be active as of 2010. So it's going to be a little bit higher than that. But as of 2010, they had 4,709 people living in that area. The issue with this one is a horse arena was sprayed with oil for dust control, but the soil was contaminated with dioxins. 7 horses died and more became ill. The arena was excavated in 1972 and the contaminated soil was used as fill for residential properties. Oh wow, thanks a lot. Sediments in Romaine Creek are also contaminated. Wow, that really shocks me. The thing that bugs me with some of these Superfund sites is that they're always trying to reuse the contaminated material. You can't do that. You have to dispose of it properly. Like if it is contaminated in one area and you move it to another area, then all you're doing is moving the contamination. So, not good. So, yeah, kind of disappointed about that, but that's just the stupidity of how they clean up some of these sites. But anyway, this one was added to the list September 8th, 1983. The next one that is current and active is Missouri Electric Works. It is located in the city of Cape. I think that's Gerardo, if I pronounce that correctly. And the population there is 39,540 people. The issue with this one is air, groundwater, and soil contamination by VOCs and PCBs from recycling transformer oil. Some waste oil was also used for dust suppression on local properties. I'm not surprised. This one was added to the list. That's going to be February 21st, 1990. The next one that is current and active is Newton County Mine Tailing Site. It is located in the city of Granby. The population there is 2,134 people. The issue with this one is groundwater and soil contamination by lead and cadmium from mining operations. It is estimated that over 700 drinking water wells are contaminated. That's not good. This one was added to the list September 29th, 2003. The next one is Newton County Wells. It is located in Joplin. The population there, let's see here, it's not telling me. Hold on just a moment. Let me click it and see. Don't want to tell you wrong. The population as of 2020 is 51,762 people. So quite a large area, especially for Missouri. Okay, so the issue at this Superfund site is TCE contamination of groundwater and drinking water wells from former ball bearing manufacturing plant. That's hard to say. Let's see, this one was added to the list July 27th, 2000. The next one that is current and active is Oak Grove Village Well. It is located in Oak Grove Village. The population there is 509 people. It has probably grown a little bit since then, but if people live there, it's still an issue. Let's see here. The issue with this one is TCE contamination of the Oak Grove Village Municipal Well from an unknown source. This one was added to the list September 5th, 2002. The next one that is current and active is I think that's Oronogo Duneweg Mining Belt. It is located in Jasper County. Let's see, the population for there is 122,761 people living in that area. The issue at this site is significant contamination of groundwater, surface water, and soil by cadmium, lead, and zinc from mining, milling, and smelting of metal ores. At least 200 private drinking water wells are contaminated with lead and cadmium. At least 2,300 residential yards are contaminated with lead, and at least 300 homes have been built on or near milling waste piles. That's an issue there. Let's see here. This one was added to the list August 30th, 1990. The next one that is current and active is Pools Prairie. It is located in Neosho. The population there is 12,590 people. The issue with this one is private drinking water wells contaminated with VOCs, including TCE and carbon tetrachloride. Not good. This one was added to the list September 17th, 1999. The next one that is current and active is Quality Plating. It is located in the city of, I think that's Sikeston, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's see here. It doesn't give me a population. But the issue with this one is groundwater contamination by lead and hexavalent chromium from former electroplating operations. This one was added to the list June 10th, 1986. The next one that is current and active is Riverfront. It is located in the city of Franklin. Let's see, the population for that is 104,682 people living in that area. The issue with this one is groundwater, surface water, and soil are contaminated with PCE. Not good. This one was added to the list December 1st, 2000. The next one that is current and active is Solid State Circuits, Inc. It is located in the city of Republic. The population there is 18,750 people. The issue with this one is groundwater is contaminated by VOCs, including TCE, methylene chloride, and chloroform. Contaminated soil has been cleaned up, but who knows where they put it, as we've seen in times past. This one was added to the list June 10th, 1986. The next one that is current and active is St. Louis Airport, Hazelwood, Interim Storage, Futura Coatings Company. Big old long title, so if I had to guess, it's a site that was used repeatedly by different people, if I had to guess, since it has so many different names. This one is located in the city of St. Louis, or St. Louis, however you want to pronounce it. The population there is a little over 1 million people, so quite a big issue there. So this one, it says the soil is contaminated by uranium, thorium, and radium, and the groundwater has uranium contamination from uranium ore processing associated with the Manhattan Project and from transportation and dumping of process residues. The site encompasses dozens of locations in North St. Louis County, including the length of Coldwater Creek. Waste from the same origin were also trucked to the West Lake landfill. Obviously, it's going to be bad if it's a landfill. But I didn't know that Coldwater Creek was an actual area, because I remember Coldwater Creek being a really nice clothing company back in the day. I used to buy dresses from there. I loved their clothes. And then they closed their store, and then once they closed their store, they only had clothes online, and they kind of became kind of dumpy and frowdy looking. It's like, no, please redo your clothing line. But as of yet, I haven't seen them redo it, so they need to spruce it up a little bit. But this is a different name and a different place, so to speak. But this one was added to the list October 4th, 1989. The next one that is an active Superfund site is Southwest Jefferson County Mining. In Jefferson County, let's see their population. They have 226,739 people living in that area. The issue with this one is extensive lead contamination of soils, at least 594 residential properties, and at least 39 private drinking water wells from former mining, milling, and smelting operations. So a lot of contamination across the board. This one was added to the list September 23rd, 2009. The next one that is active is Sporian Valve Plant Number 1. It is located in the city of Washington. Let's see, their population is 14,916 people. It doesn't tell me what the issue is, but this one was added recently. This one was added May 15th, 2019, so not that long ago. It's kind of sad. The next one that is active is Syntex Facility, Inc. It is located in Verona. The population there is 619. And let's see, that was 2010 census. The 2020 census, it went up to 826 people. The issue with this one is soil, surface water, and groundwater contaminated by dioxins and VOCs, and spring, river, aquatic life contaminated by dioxins from chemical manufacture. Not good. This one was added to the list September 8th, 1983. The next one that is active is Valley Park, TCE. And Valley Park, let's see what their population is. It says their population is 6,885 people. The issue with this one is groundwater contamination by VOCs, including PCE and trichloroethane, It says municipal and industrial water supplies are affected as well. This one was added to the list June 10th, 1986. The next one is Vienna Wells. It is located in Vienna. The population there is 581 people. The issue with this one is 3 drinking water wells are contaminated with PCE, believed to come from the site of a former hat factory. Let's see, this one was added to the list September 29th, 2010. The next one that is active is Washington County, Lead District, Furnace Creek. It is located in, I think that's Caledonia, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. The population there is a little over 130 people, so not a whole lot of people, but they do have a Superfund site. It doesn't tell me what the issue is, but it was added to the list March 10th, 2010. The next one is Washington County, Old Mines. It is located in Old Mines, and it doesn't tell me the population, so let's see what the issue is. Let's see, it says surface soil at 290 residential properties and 124 private drinking water wells are contaminated with lead. Occasional elevated levels of barite, arsenic, cadmium have also been identified at the site, or barite. I think that's how you pronounce it. BARITE. This one was added to the list March 19th, 2008. The next one that is active is Washington County, I think that's Potosi, if that's how you pronounce it. And it's located in Potosi. The population there, as of 2010, was 2,660 people. The issue with this one is surface soil at 716 residential properties and 138 private drinking water wells are contaminated with lead. Occasional elevated levels of barite, arsenic, and cadmium have also been identified. This one was added to the list March 19th, 2008. Let's see here. The next one that is active is Washington County, Richwoods. It is located in Richwoods, and the population, it does not tell me. But the issue with this one is surface soil at 65 residential properties and 49 private drinking water wells are contaminated with lead. Occasional elevated levels of barite, arsenic, and cadmium have also been identified. Let's see here. This one was added to the list March 19th, 2008. The next one is Weldon Spring, former Army Ordnance Works. It is located in St. Charles. The population there, let's see, is 405,262 people. The issue with this one is TNT, DNT, and lead have been identified in soil at several areas on the site, and TNT was detected in 1987 in surface water downstream of the lagoons. This one was added to the list February 21st, 1990. The next one is Weldon Spring Quarry Plant Pits. It deals with the United States Department of Energy and the United States Army. It is also located in St. Charles. The issue with this one is wastewater containing, I think that's sulfonate, derivatives contaminate surface water and groundwater. Residues from uranium ore, thorium ore, radium, TNT, and DNT residues cause this contamination. This one was added to the list July 22nd, 1987. The last one that is active is West Lake Landfill. Obviously, being that it is a landfill, it's probably going to be bad. This one is located in St. Louis or St. Louis, however you pronounce it. And the population there, again, is a little over 1 million people. The issue with this one is soils mixed with uranium ore. Processing residues were used as daily cover in the landfilling operation. Not very smart. Wow. Okay, so this one was added to the list. That's going to be August 30th, 1990. So now we're going to take a look and see if there are any that are being proposed to being added to the list. So far, I don't see any. So we are going to close out this episode with discussing the ones that have been deleted from the National Priorities list. Amen, right? So these are ones that are cleaned up and good to go. So let's take a look at these. So the first one that is cleaned up and good to go is I think it's pronounced Annapolis or Annapolis lead mine. Let's see here. This one was cleaned up and good to go as of September 30th, 2020. Gold star. Let's see here. Let me find the next one. I have quite a list here. The next one is Kern Pest Laboratories. Let's see here. It was cleaned up and good to go as of September 20th, 2001. Oh, hold on a second. I need to tell you where these were located. The first one is located in Annapolis, if that's how you pronounce it. That one's cleaned up and good to go. The second one, Kern Pest Laboratories, was located in Cape Girardeau, if that's how you pronounce it. It was cleaned up and good to go as of September 20th, 2001. The next one, I'm scrolling down my list. Let's see, is Northview Drive Well Contamination. It was located in Springfield. It was cleaned up and good to go as of September 8th, 1994. Scrolling down to the next one. The next one is Shenandoah. Oh, I love that, the name. I remember the song Shenandoah. So Shenandoah Stables. It was located in Moscow Mills. It was cleaned up and good to go as of September 25th, 2001. Moving on to the next one. Let's see. Next one is Times Beach Site. It was located in Times Beach. It was cleaned up and good to go as of September 25th, 2001. The next and last one is Wheeling Disposal Service Company Landfill. It was located in Amazonia, if that's how you pronounce that. And it was cleaned up and good to go as of October 30th, 2000. So Gold Star, Missouri, you're cleaning your stuff up, but you're also adding some to your list. So let's work on that. But I will go ahead and end this podcast. And probably the next time we will move on to the Superfund sites located in the state of Montana. But until next time, I pray that you're happy, healthy, and whole, that you have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.